All right, folks. Thanks for coming back to the show. Another episode with Boss Up with Mr. Key, with your host, realtor, real estate professional, Andre Key. And, another show under our belt. I appreciate the support. Remember to, like, comment, subscribe on whatever platform you see our snippets or you listen to the podcast on. Share with a friend. Let's try to get the word out. Let's get some information out. Again, this is the real estate edition. We will pick back up with interviewing our guests, our entrepreneurs, but in a time in the current state of the real estate market, I wanted to be here for the listeners to make sure that we got them, some accurate information. We were the voice of reasoning as far as real estate and real estate investments are concerned. But before I start, I want to tell you all a quick story. I have this shirt on that says Sovereign Citizen. And probably most of the people don't have an idea of what I'm saying, but just to not go into it too deep, a sovereign citizen is someone who is quote unquote above the law, like above the Constitution. Some sovereign citizens believe, hey, we don't have to follow the law that's laid out. I shouldn't say above the Constitution, but they feel like, hey, we don't have to follow the laws that are legislated. We're following the Constitution that states we are sovereign citizens of the United States. I don't need a driver's license. I don't have to pay taxes, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a long list of things that sovereign citizens believe their rights are inalienated by, like, some of the laws and legislation that has been put forth that is not congruent with the Constitution. Well, now that part is out of the way, let me tell you the story about this T-shirt that says, hey, sovereign citizen. So maybe 6 years ago, I had a ticket, a violation, a moving violation, and being busy with life and sometimes just throwing away a bunch of mail, I never settled that ticket. So maybe a year later, they're like, hey, Mr. Key, you need to come to court, deal with this ticket. Like, it's going to triple if you don't take care of it right now. And so I was like, okay, good. Let me go to court. I'll go downtown Austin on 6th Street. Went to Travis County Court. So I go into court, and of course, I'm in the back of the courtroom. There's about a handful of gentlemen in the courtroom, and I see the attorney, district attorney. I don't know the term for a traffic violation, but he's telling each person, hey, Mr. Johnson, we threw that out. Hey, you're free to go. We threw that out. He's handing out these get out of jail free or get out of a ticket free card like candy in the court. So I'm like, whoa, what's going on? So I there's a guy next to me, and I'm like, how is everybody getting the chance to, like, get their cases or their tickets thrown out? And he was like, hey, come in the hallway with me. Let's talk really quick. All right, cool. At this point, I'm like, hey, I don't want to pay this for $400 to $500 ticket. Like, let's talk. So we go in the hallway, and he starts telling me about the sovereign citizenship and how basically speeding, the definition of speeding is incorrect, and what police can and can't enforce, and your right as a sovereign citizen on the roads that we pay for, et cetera, et cetera. And so I'm taking all this in, and he was like, I'm like, wow. He was like, yeah, everybody in here knows that. I've beat these type of cases. People even beat criminal cases with the information that's in this book. Now, of course, he was saying you can have this information too for like $3.99. So I'm like, okay, give me your number. We'll talk about that later. Now, at this point, I'm just oblivious to like what the hell is going on, but I'm just taking pieces of what he said and thinking that, okay, I can figure this out. It's not too hard. So anyway, I go back into the courtroom, and they say, hey, Mr. Key, how do you want to plead? I'm like, not guilty. I don't want to plead guilty. I'm not guilty. You sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, we'll give you a bench trial. And so they made me wait and was like, hey, the judge will come in. So once I got a chance to see the judge after about an hour, he said, okay, Mr. Key, like, state your case. Like, what's going on? I said, look, Your Honor, as a sovereign citizen of this country, I feel like the violation was incorrect. I feel like that there is no proof of a violation and that this should be thrown out. And then him and the lawyer looked at me and was like, what are you saying? I said, look, based on my rights as based on the Constitution, I was not speeding. I was not endangering lives. I was keeping up with the flow of the traffic. So as a sovereign citizen of this country, I feel like that should be thrown out. And so they kind of looked at me and they almost chuckled and laughed in my face. And, I'll tell you, at that point, I started getting angry because it's like, all right, you all are making a mockery of whatever I'm trying to say. And so they're like, Mr. Key, can you tell us one more time, why do you feel like you don't need this ticket? Like, what are you trying to say? I said, Your Honor. My voice got a little sterner. Your Honor. To be honest, I don't know what I'm trying to say. All I know is that these guys in the courtroom have used this sovereign citizenship to get their tickets thrown out, and I feel like I should get mine thrown out too. And they were like, what? And the attorney said, hey, he's been talking to Mr. Johnson in the back of the courtroom. So they were like, okay, we'll give you a break. We'll recess. And when they came back, the lawyer says, hey, your case is thrown out. I was like, what? So I walked out of that courtroom feeling like Tupac or something, like I just beat a case. But again, it was based on the sovereign citizenship. They threw it out. And again, I never bought the packet from the guy. I didn't want to, I did a little YouTube research and it seemed a little far-fetched. I'm like, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But it did what it needed to do. So officially, it worked for me in court. If you want to try to make it work for you in court, good luck, but I'm going to take that victory. So that sovereign citizenship is worn on my chest just for today's show. And I told a good friend of mine that story. He actually bought this shirt for me and was like, man, that story was amazing, especially how you yelled at the judge. So again, no disrespect to any judges that are listening to the show, but at that point I was a little frustrated, like, man, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, you heard it from the last 5 guys that came and stood in front of you. Now, maybe they were way more versed than I was, but God damn it, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. But anyway, to kind of pull us back in, this is our real estate edition, and I want to talk a little bit about news and how it's expressed and how it is assimilated throughout the country, throughout the globe. And just like that guy giving me a piece of information, me regurgitating it to you is going to lose a lot in context. And it just depends on who the deliverer of the news is. Based on that, it's going to be how you receive it. And so what I'm saying now is that there is a lot of news out there that is dragging the real estate market through the ground. There's a real estate bust. Prices are going to keep dropping. Interest rates are going to keep going up. Jobs are getting cut. Like, it's fear. It's gloom and doom. You hear that a lot, and it's affecting people. We've been hearing that for several months now, and I don't know if it's actually the market that is affecting people or the doom and gloom media that is affecting the psychology of people, but I see it come into place. And how do I see it coming out into play? Houses in the Austin, Texas area are sitting a little longer. They went from, in the pandemic, maybe 4 days to 50 something days towards the beginning of this year to almost like 3.5 months. So properties are sitting longer. Mortgage rates are going up. So it's making payments a little higher. Lenders are being a little bit more stricter. So they're not just throwing out a lot of loans like they had in the past. Like they're they're making sure that they cover themselves in the risk. And with all that being said, prices are correcting. And so prices are correcting from where, Andre? From the pandemic. So during the pandemic, in the real estate market as an agent here in Texas, I was considered an essential worker. So that means I had to put on the mask, put on the gloves, and go and show houses, list houses, have Zoom meetings with people doing my buyer's consultations and seller I even had a listing appointment via Zoom, and I had the person take their computer or their phone and walk me around the house and show me the house. So there was a lot of virtual stuff going on, but real estate did not stop. And even now, real estate is still considered the top investment for Americans, and that's probably 10 to 11 years in a row. So, during the pandemic, real estate was going. Real estate was booming, I should say. And to me, that was considered a unicorn, Think about it. We sell horses. We sell houses, not horses. I'm in Texas, but I'm not that much of a country boy. We sell houses. Let's say we were selling houses on a horse, and the horse was galloping at a good steady pace. It'll speed up every once in a while. And then this pandemic came, which, I'm not glorifying that because that was kind of some of the most horrific times in U.S. history, in the world history. A lot of people lost a lot of folks, me included. But during that time in real estate, the people that were in the industry jumped off the horse and jumped on this magical unicorn. And so while the horse could just trot, the unicorn could fly. And so it soared to new heights. Interest rates sunk to new lows. The world was flipped upside down on its head, but real estate emerged as the champion of investments. And the prices got inflated, and there were multiple bids. There were buyers standing around in a line to go into an open house, a line around the corner. Great times for real estate again. And now it's like we parked that horse, we went to the saloon, or we parked that unicorn for a minute, went to the saloon to get a beer, to celebrate, get some drinks, to celebrate the success. And when we came back out, the unicorn was gone. All you could see is the rain stuck near the water. And you could just jump back on the horse, maybe even jump back on the mule. So now you had to readjust on how to ride. And all the agents that jumped into the real estate game, jumped into that game while everyone was riding a unicorn. That's all they knew. All they knew was like, hey, you sell real estate riding a unicorn can fly, dip, and do flips and take you to new heights. The people that knew how to sell, or you knew how to help people buy from the horse, had to readjust. The agents that only knew unicorns, they didn't know what to do. Like, what the hell? What part of the game is this? What's going on? So with that being said, we've lost a lot of new agents, a lot of agents that saw that unicorn way of doing business and that way of getting them quicker to wealth, pulled out and said, hey, we need to go, what's this? I got to ride a donkey to try to sell real estate. This is moving too slow. I need to survive. I need to go back to get me a job. So I think over 6,000 agents have thrown in the towel. So again, that's just showing you that now we're riding this horse and we're going back to ways that we have to sell, real estate. An agent has to really know what the hell they're talking about, really know how to sell a property, help buyers negotiate nowadays. There's no more chance of luck or just good fortune of the market. And we also have to talk to people about what's going on. The buyers are scared. Buyers tell me, hey, Andre, I'm waiting until the foreclosed market comes back. I'm waiting until prices drop. What are you waiting until prices drop to zero? You're listening to the gloom and doom speech Me, I just tend to stay on the positive side. And, some people can't pull positive out of shit. Like you could be riding a nice car and, instead of that person giving you a compliment, they what are you doing with that? Like, it's just some people that can't ever see positive in anything. But me, I'm glass half full. And so when people say, hey, Andre, prices are dropping, I said prices are correcting, and it's helping affordability. And when they say, hey, Andre, interest rates are rising, and I say, yeah, they are, but eventually they'll come back down. Like, the rise of interest rates open up new opportunities for buyers that they haven't seen in years. Like, what does that mean? So when interest rates rise, prices pull back. They drop. And so how much do they drop? Well, I don't know. But now as a buyer, you have leverage because there's more inventory out there now. Inventory is sitting longer and interest rates are higher. And buyers can go in and tell these sellers, hey, if you want to sell me your house, I like your house. You caught me at a time where I want to buy a home. However, I don't want to pay that price. And I need help from you. I need concessions from you. Concessions mean a seller will give a buyer mostly funding to help them make their mortgage more affordable. So they'll give concessions so you can buy down an interest rate to a point that you can, pay off some closing costs. So basically right now as a buyer, you can negotiate. You can negotiate terms that will fit you and help make that home as affordable as possible. So you could be the buyer that says, hey, Andre, I think I just want to wait. I think prices are going to keep dropping. I want to wait for that. Or I think interest rates are going to come back down a little bit. I want to wait for that. And interest rates are hovering at what? Over 7% maybe? I want to wait until they come back down to 5.5. Well, if you do that, you lose the good stuff I just told you. If it goes down, those buyers that all have been scared and waiting are going to jump back in. It's going to create a frenzy, and you may not get a chance to negotiate good pricing, good terms on that property. But if you stand firm and you know that, hey, I can probably even buy down my interest rate. I can negotiate all these things right now. This is the best time for you to buy. That if you think of that, hey, the media is saying, no, it's horrible. The market is going to crash. But as I look at the data, the prices here in Austin and across the country are starting to stabilize month over month. We did have a drop from last May to early this year, but we're seeing some stabilization now and a small uptick in the prices. Now, for a seller, you're like, hey, Andre, why would I sell right now? Like, it seems like I'm losing equity from the magical years. However, if you price your home right and you're realistic about where your home is and you have to sell, there's a way to still have a silver lining. Let's say during the pandemic or the mythical times, the magical times, your equity went up 40%. Okay, you lose half of that. 20% is still a great growth on an investment. And so 30% is still good growth. So if you have to sell and you know how to price it right and you get the right agent, and when everybody is in the neighborhood posting and they're still stuck in the magical times and still think that their house should be worth this, if you're smart, you take some of the greed element out, you have a good exit strategy of what you're going to do with your funds. Once you sell your house, are you going to get another one? What are you going to do? And you price it right, you're going to look good. You're going to stand out. And there's still going to be multiple offers on your property. So just understanding that as a seller, you could still get multiple offers if you understand how to price your house right. If your agent understands how to put it out there right. And then you don't have to give up all these concessions. You don't have to do all of that. Or maybe you could price a little higher, but offer a concession. It's just understanding where we are in the market and picking the positives. Stop looking at the doom and gloom. Again, real estate is still the best investment for Americans. Recession is looming. They've been talking recession for a bit now. I haven't seen housing prices go to $1 per square foot yet. I don't think that's going to happen. What I'm seeing is that the stabilization is starting to happen. Now, do I have a crystal ball? Will the prices drop even more? I don't know. I won't sit here and tell you that I have the information or I have the foresight to tell you what's going to happen in the future. But what I do know as an agent, I'm back riding a horse instead of a unicorn. And I know how to kick my spurs in to make that horse increase. I know how to make sure that my people are informed on why now is a good time to buy or sell, how to take advantage of, what's going on in the market and how to utilize that as a strength for you as a consumer. So again, just pay attention to where you get the information from. Cite your sources, do some additional research, do some additional digging. For the new agents that feel like, hey, I was riding a wave a couple of years ago. Now this part of the market sucks. No, it doesn't. Just learn how to talk about what's going on in the market. Learn how to seek that positive silver lining and learn how to make it make sense to your buyers and sellers so that they can feel comfortable about their decision. People, I'm not buying a house. It's going to drop 30% after. Okay, show me where you heard that number. People pull numbers out of the air, and I don't like to state a lot of numbers and 20% here, 15%. I like to use it for context, but if someone really wants to go number for number, I go to CoreLogic, I go to the main sources. You may go to CNBC, Fox News, I don't know, Fox Financial, but we want to make sure that we talk about numbers relative to where you live, your city, your particular market. Sometimes you got to take out the rest of the country. You can't tell me, I saw in Detroit that this is going on. Well, we're in Austin. This isn't Detroit. You know what I mean? So again, choose what side of the coin you want to be on. The matrix, red pill, blue pill. Red is everything is going to hell. Blue is that, hey, life goes on and life can be good based on your attitude and the choices you make. And with that being said, I'm off for my soapbox today. No more preaching. To all the sovereign citizens out there, keep doing your thing, I guess, and that's another episode of Boss Up with Mr. Key, the Real Estate Edition. To all my listeners and the folks out there, thank you again. Remember those key phrases: like, comment, subscribe, share, talk about, tell me if I'm wrong, prove it, and I can bring you on the show. Until next time, enjoy.